Hello, I'm Suparna Dasgupta, co-founder of Oak and Acorn Consulting, a startup based out of Australia and India. I have been in the industry for more than 2 decades. In recent years, I have extensively worked in intelligent automation across diverse businesses and processes. Oak and Acorn Consulting has been set up along with my partner, Amit Dasgupta, to help individuals and organizations transition to the future of business through intelligent automation, with an aim to actively reduce the anticipated future skill gap through building capacity when automation takes over. We engage with organizations as implementation partners to deploy automation, provide advisory services, bringing in operational excellence, and lastly, conduct skill development programs for both business and individuals. I wish to thank Plymouth University and Dr. Smita Tripathi in Leadership and HRS, Plymouth Business School, for inviting and giving us an opportunity to put forth our views on such a pertinent topic today. I'm very excited to be with you all today, and I hope you're equally excited on the topic that I'll be speaking on for the next 30 minutes or so. Today, I will be talking to you on what we feel as one of the most important topic of recent times that is starting to see an impact in small bites, however, is very crucial for the future days and years to come. It is on leadership in a digital world. It is one thing for an organization to implement new technologies, yet another to sustain and leverage gains through the consistent application of those technologies by employees in the organization. That is where leadership starts to get very crucial. Technology implementation and its adoption by employees need to go hand in hand, which can be successfully achieved with the right thinking and new skills that a leader needs to develop. So, I'm here today to talk on key skills and competencies that I believe a leader should develop to work successfully in a digital era. However, before I start to touch on leadership skills, it is worthwhile to reassess the world today and evaluate a key trend of the future. I'm mainly referring to two key incidents that has changed or is changing the world today. The current health crisis that has shaken the world today with the biggest jolt ever we have seen, and a silent yet unfamiliar workforce demography trend that will force all countries to look at alternatives to regain and sustain economic growth. I will begin with reviving our memories on the key market drivers. What are the current market drivers of change? How operations and organizations are being reassessed and reshaped to cater to the current market requirements, primarily from a digital standpoint. This will be a good segue to evaluate essential leadership capabilities that are imperative in a digital standpoint, in a digital era, sorry. So how does the global market look like today? The world has changed, and the future is not what it used to be. This is largely due to the COVID-19 pandemic that has hit all the countries. The International Monetary Fund has projected alarming economic slowdown around the world. The overall global economy is expected to witness a negative growth, -3% in 2021, with both advanced and emerging and developing economies taking a massive hit, some countries going into recession. Europe and US at -7.5% and -6% simultaneously are the worst hit, and Asia the best, however, only at 2%. It is only in 2022 the markets will slowly swing back. However, not at the same rate as before, much lesser and hopefully positive. What does it mean? The future is not what it used to be, and the organizations across the world are preparing for the new normal. Distance is back. Mid-1990s, the death of distance gained traction. However, now there are border restrictions, more restrictive visas, and immigration policies. Business will need to plan on how to operate in new ways. Resiliency needed to absorb the shock and come out of it will be the key to survival and long-term prosperity. Given the government packages rolled out, there will be greater government control and scrutiny. Consumer behaviors will change. You can already notice the lasting change to consumer attitudes towards physical distance, health, and privacy. It may move towards a contact-free economy. In three areas in particular, e-commerce, telemedicine, and automation could be the decisive turning point. Coronavirus has hastened and is like a steroid for business to transition towards digitization, automation, and mechanization. There is another key factor not spoken very often that is driving the demand or push for digital technologies, and that is the demographic factor. It is the confluence of coronavirus and the demographic shift all coming together in the 2020s that will and is driving the demand for digital technologies, particularly automation. Take the case of Australia's demography. Its reduced workforce growth has hastened the shift to automation. There is a baby bust in the 2020s, unlike the baby boom of the 90s. The baby boomers are exiting the workforce market much faster as compared to the millennials entering the workforce. Australia is not that bad. Japan is worse. It has started to go into negative even before 2000. So what does that mean? In the next decade, even without the coronavirus, there is a need to get greater productivity out of the existing workforce. And the way companies can do that is through digital technologies and through automation. This was going to happen anyways. However, the double whammy of coronavirus will hasten the requirement for digital technologies. So, apart from productivity, what are the other key market drivers? And is digital a solution to those drivers? Few remain the same, simply amplified like operating cost, growth, and ever-changing customer expectation. Few are emerging areas, a possible outsourcing market saturation, increased compliance and regulatory requirements, and new and emerging technologies. What drives these change? Traditionally, organizations needed to reduce cost, build efficient processes, adhere to service level agreements, and get higher productivity. They did it through business process management, applying Lean Six Sigma, offshore back office tasks to get a labor arbitrage, and had manual processes. However, today, the drivers of change have evolved. Number one, the need to keep pace with evolving customer expectation and business situations in a digital-first world. Number two, ensuring business continuity during this and future pandemics. Number three, saturation of benefits from traditional processes, such as shared services, offshore labor arbitrage, and enterprise resource planning. Number four, challenges on account of increasing administrative expenses due to expanding coverage and regulatory stringency. And lastly, the need to improve employee engagement and reduce attrition. Evolving into a digital-first business is becoming increasingly important for organizations to remain competitive. They're using various digital levers to cater to the growing and changing market demands. So, what are these digital technologies? The next generation digital technologies primarily fall in the realm of robotic process automation, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, analytics, and cloud. They provide opportunities to enterprises to significantly transform touchpoints and journey experiences across all key stakeholder groups. The stakeholder groups, apart from the customer, now also includes your suppliers, partners, regulators, and most importantly, employees of an organization. Now, it's important to see how operations have run traditionally and compare it with how operations is envisaged to run in the future through application of digital technologies. We will compare it through an example of application of intelligent automation, RPA and AI in a digital first operation. The term digital first operation has been picked up from a Gartner and UiPath report. Let us now take a look at how traditional operation works and evaluate the challenges it faces today. Every company is pyramid-based, with people primarily working on complex tasks such as strategy, vision, and planning right on top of the pyramid, with fewer key senior management responsible to conduct those tasks. Thereafter, tasks that require intensive knowledge, such as research, analytics, and recommendations, are done by few more. However, the maximum chunk of employees are in the shop that does tasks across each process, which are generally transactional in nature, repetitive, voluminous, and simple tasks. These tasks get conducted by training employees to work on legacy systems. So let's start with the customer making an inquiry. Today, this possibly gets picked up by a contact center person who looks into various applications where the customer information are stored and provides a solution or an information to the customer. The key challenge and business problems with this traditional operations model for any organization or an enterprise journey are disjointed operations resulting in high turnaround time. In addition, heavy reliance on manual tasks and human errors, high risk during a pandemic. Not to forget that legacy systems are not compatible with modern applications. And lastly, but not the least, all of it will fall apart with kind of seasonal spikes in demand and transaction volumes. Now let us look at the same business operation using digital technology. In a digital operations today, organization structure is rapidly changing to include digital technology to aid human workforce. There are suites of digital technologies that can be deployed, which may vary from business to business. However, what is important to note is that intelligent automation is playing a pivotal part in it. Right from knowledge-based processes, automation technologies can be applied. The IT infrastructure changes to a centralized database where legacy systems work and is interfaced by automation technologies. You're observing today that chatbots try and respond to customer query that come through omnichannels. There are several benefits to implementing an automation solution in a business. Number one, cost elimination and profit maximization. Number two, touchless transaction. Number three, process efficiencies. Number four, increased workforce productivity. Number five, enhanced employee experience due to them working on complex tasks as opposed to mundane and repetitive tasks. Number six, enhanced customer experience due to speed to market and the RFT factor, right first time. Number seven, improved governance and compliance. Automation is auditable and well documented. Number eight, higher flexibility and capacity creation during seasonalities. Number nine, better partner and supplier enablement. And number 10, improved collaboration across teams. So you see, there are multiple benefits to digitizing a business or an organization. There may be several more benefits. However, broadly can be categorized under speed to market, reduction in bottom line or operating cost, increase in top line or earnings, leading to a higher customer satisfaction. Now that we've touched upon the current market drivers and how different a digital operation is to a traditional operation, it is time to reflect on how leaders will and can transition their business to a digitized business. Like I had mentioned earlier, technology implementation and its adoption by employees need to go hand in hand, which can be successfully achieved with the right thinking and new skills that a leader need to develop to be successful. So the first change that need to happen in any organization is to change leadership mindsets and build new competencies. Through new skills, the technology adoption by leaders will be like walk the talk for their teams and will pave the way for the entire organization to adopt to the new ways of working. So, what are these new skills? Certain ideas about business leadership are said to be timeless, and certain characteristics of leaders, a square jaw and a deep voice, and an extroverted character, are said to be universal. In Leading in the Digital World, Dr. Amit Mukherjee argues that since digital technologies are changing everything else, how could they not change leadership ideologies and style? As more people worldwide participate equally in business, those assumptions of a leader's ideal profile have become irrelevant. Offering a radical rethinking of leadership, he shows why digital technologies call for a new kind of leader, having three key characteristics: creativity, collaboration, and inclusivity. He conducted a global survey of 700 mid-tier to senior executives and held interviews with C-level executives and evaluated that digital technologies are already reshaping organizations and work and what this means for leaders. For example, globally dispersed businesses can't reserve key leadership roles for people from exclusive groups. Leadership must become inclusive or they will fail. Leaders must learn to collaborate in a multipolar world of networked organization, working with co-located and non-co-located colleagues. Leaders must lead for creativity rather than productivity, because productivity can be achieved through digitized processes. Organizations have started to map out leadership skill gaps that are now required to build a reshaped digital organization. In fact, even before global health crisis, a survey was conducted by McKinsey where 92% of leaders thought their business model will not remain viable at the rate of digitization pre-COVID. The pandemic has put the entire scenario on steroids. The pandemic has forced every company into finding ways to be more nimble, flexible, and fast. The crisis has been a launchpad for organizations to become virtual, digital-centric, and agile, and do it at lightning speed. Business leaders that have learned and put in practice digital technologies are saying that they have accomplished in 10 days what used to take them 10 months. It has sped up and unleashed innovation unlike anything they have ever seen. The companies that are leading the way out of this crisis are the ones that will grab the market share and set the tone and tempo for others. However, speed is not the only factor for success. The winning companies are investing in tech, data, processes, and people to enable speed through better decisions and faster course correction based on what they learn. So few key leadership skills stand out. The first one, digital speed. Leadership in companies just operate faster, from reviewing strategies to allocating resources. For example, they reallocate talent and capital 4 times more quickly than others. As an example, I worked in an infrastructure telecom company, and their strategy was to build automation capability internally with employees with a problem-solving and analytical bent of mind. employees working on continuous improvements, and an operational excellence department who were earlier improving businesses through Lean and Six Sigma were picked up. They were trained and they delivered quick and sustainable results. The second one, leaders are ready to reinvent. While businesses need to maintain the profitable element of their businesses, BAU is a dangerous mode. Leaders are investing as much in upgrading the core of their business as they are in innovation, often by harnessing technology. I worked in an offshore global in-house center, and in 2016, it was strongly felt that labor arbitrage and meeting all key performance indicators year on year was no longer viable. We had to bring higher value to the business that were offshored. We evaluated and rebuilt our strategy to move away from a back office centered strategy to a higher value proposition strategy. We looked at going digital, which resulted in the inception of the Intelligent Automation Center of Excellence. The third one, all in. Leaders in these companies are not just making faster decisions, they're making bold decisions. The fourth one, leaders are making data-driven decisions. Data is the new oil. Data is proving fuel to power better and faster decisions. McKinsey suggests that high-performing organizations are 3 times more likely than others to say their data and analytics initiatives have contributed at least 20% EBIT from 2016 to 2019. And lastly, leaders are customer followers. Being customer-centric is well established. However, competing pressures and priorities mean that the customers can often be sidelined. Top companies that sustain a comprehensive focus on customers, in addition to operational and IT improvements, can generate higher economic gains ranging from 20 to 50% of cost base. Therefore, the professional world continues its metamorphosis as organizations increasingly leverage technology to modernize their business strategies. As the pace of change intensifies, many companies may not be able to compete and will be laggards and may just perish. Competition reigns in from every direction. Looking ahead, technologies such as robotics and artificial intelligence are projected to affect 2 billion jobs over the next decade. These trends represent both a threat and an opportunity. Organizations with digitally savvy leaders, the pioneers, are outperforming those organizations with less digitally capable leaders, the laggards. As work becomes increasingly digital, that performance gap will keep growing. A global leadership forecast 2018 shows digital era leaders focus their attention across 5 clusters made up of 16 competencies, as you can see in the slide. Averaging across all competencies, only 22% of leaders consider themselves effective in all 5 areas. So there's a lot of work to be done in this area. The right column of the figure shows leaders' ratings of their own effectiveness. They have reported relatively strengths in traditional leadership skills. However, the differentiators, particularly digital capabilities and seeking out opportunities across complex ecosystems, are where leaders have gaps. So, where should leaders focus? Lead with digitization. Organizations need leaders who understand the impact digital tech can have on their businesses. They sense what is and isn't possible, and more important, sense what will be possible. They look to standardize and automate processes to generate new insights they can leverage for differentiated capabilities. Number 2, adaptability is a must. Digital leaders must be able to adapt to constant change or fall behind. They need to be learning every day, not getting caught up in traditions. Number 3, execution. It's one thing to anticipate change, but it takes another set of skills, however, altogether to turn new ideas into reality. Number 4, hyper-collaboration is about working relentlessly to break down silos. It's getting people working together to solve customers and the organization's issues. Number 5, identify and develop new talent. Leaders need to spot and rapidly bring on board the digitally savvy talent of tomorrow. Leaders do relatively well in this area. And lastly, having a 360-degree view. Leaders must be able to spot patterns and bring thinking together from multiple perspectives. Now the question is, where should they start? Some of the current leadership bench will be unable to acquire a new mindset. They may need to be replaced with more digitally capable leaders. It is important to lead for the future of the organization, nurture and develop leaders as much as those running the legacy business. New leaders will not only require a technical mindset, but also the imagination and vision of how technology can enable their organization's competitive position. Technology quotient will be the new mantra, which is nothing but a measure of an organization's performance across key dimensions of digital maturity. It means going forward, leaders need to be evaluated on technology acumen across all executives and measure their proficiency and improvement as you measure profit targets. Therefore, in addition to emotional quotient, the leaders now need what is referred as technical quotient. And lastly, foster a digital ecosystem for leaders to thrive. This includes new approaches to learning, rewards, use of space, and elimination of hierarchies. Place great digitally ready leaders in a traditional culture, and they will surely fail. Hence, in conclusion, I wish to recap on few key points. The world has changed and the future is not what it used to be. Evolving into a digital-first business is becoming increasingly important for organizations to remain competitive. They're using various digital levers to cater to the growing and changing market demands. Since digital technologies are changing everything else, leadership ideologies and styles need to change as well. Creativity, collaboration, and inclusivity are some of the key characteristics of a new kind of leader. And lastly, other leadership skills like speed, agility, ready to reinvent, data-driven decisions, hyper-collaboration, developing new talent, having a technology quotient will help in bringing a strong digital ecosystem in an organization. So this is the end of my talk. For more information, please write to me or to Amit. Our emails are given. Please do visit our website for more information. Lastly, I wish to thank Plymouth University for giving us this opportunity. Stay well and stay safe. Thank you once again.